weight of that. Good boy, good boy. Right, you sit over there now. Got a YouTube video to do. Okay? Stay. Okay, so welcome to my back garden. We're going to look at what I packed for the West Highland Way. It was a couple of years ago. We did it over 5.5 days. That's what we like to say. 6 days basically. First things first, the actual rucksack itself. This is a 65 litre Bergos rucksack. I got it around 2010, a long time ago. I hadn't used it before the West Highland Way. Long story, might get into that another time. So I've got my sleeping mat, which is just cheap as chips, Decathlon. So light, but also not very comfortable. So if you want to get a good night's sleep, if you're someone that requires a bit more creature comfort, you're going to need a proper sleeping mat, something maybe an inflatable one. But these are extremely light, so that is one plus. Get that out of the way. Right, get on to the tent. Yeah, this is the Jackal 3 OEX tent from Go Outdoors. This is half of it. So basically it comes in 2 bags, and that's quite useful if if there's a couple of you doing the walk, or if you can actually separate this tent out and you can share the weight. I think it weighs about, in total, 3.3 kilos. So if you're separating it out like this, you've got half that each roughly. One's got the poles, other one's got the extra like fly sheet, inner sheet sort of thing. It's not necessarily the best tent for like ultralight through hikes, long distance hiking, because of its weight. I mean, you can get some tents now that are like under 1 kilo for a 2-man. So yeah, might do another video on that. I've got a couple of inflatable pillows, which are great, and then my sleeping bag. This is the Van Gogh Venom 400. This is like a down sleeping bag, so it's really warm and it's really light. These sleeping bags weigh about 1 kilo. Not the lightest, but also not the heaviest, and packed down really small, as you can see. Boom. Actually, just remembered, I've not talked to you something about this bag. This is called the BioFlex. I'm not even too sure if they still use this technology, but basically the bag on the hips here, there's a couple of poles that you can see run into the back of the bag, and they actually allow this to like kind of rotate and move with your hips as you're walking. As you can see there, look at that action. So that rotates with your hips when you're walking. It does make it really comfortable, but it does end up squeaking. So you just walk along really quiet, and all you've got is not ideal. You need water bottles, obviously. There's plenty of places to fill up on water in the West Highland Way, so I wouldn't be too worried about taking lots of it, or even taking like a filtration system. But saying that, there's some places you will want to taste the water, because this is the Highlands in Scotland and the water is just incredible. If you're high enough up in the hills and you're not anywhere near any farms or anything like that, fill up your water bottle in a river, and it's just, it's the best. It's the best tasting water you can get. Right, where should we go now? Let's just open her up. So, a few toggles to undo. Right, so my clothes. I've got some socks. I'll just lay these out for now because I want to talk about them. They're very important. I've got my fleecy. This Merino wool under base layer, I'll put that aside as well because it's very important. 2, my jacket. That's kind of my main jacket. Scarf. My kind of like main clothes bag in a dry bag to keep it all dry. And a towel, yes, that's a proper towel. And my cooking equipment. So we'll get into this. Right, so that's my main clothes bag, right? In here I've got like changes of underwear, had my sleeping gear, which is quite important as well. It's nice to have something different to get changed into when you actually get to wherever you're going, if it's a campsite or a wild camp. Getting out of your clothes you've been sweating in all day is just, it's what you want, you know. So having something like some pajamas that are comfortable and warm, something you can maybe sleep in as well. You're not going to change your clothes that much. You don't need different t-shirts and different trousers and stuff. You're probably going to settle in what your preferred option of those is and just wear them the whole time, especially on a walk like the West Highland Way where it's under a week, you know, for most people. But yeah, so I'll put that aside. Okay, I also took a scarf. Didn't use it once, but it was nice to put on my pillow at night. This jacket. I took this kind of soft shell jacket, which is good if it's windy, if there's even just like a little bit of rain, but in serious rain, this is not going to do any use. Soft shell jacket. My fleecy just to keep me warm at night, or if it was a day where there wasn't any rain, which is quite rare in Scotland. Right, so the important stuff. Merino wool is your friend. So I made a big mistake when we did the West Highland Way. I was wearing just like synthetic materials you might use for going to the gym or just general kind of sportswear, and that's great, you know, like when you're wearing it just for the one day, but then it really does begin to smell. And I found on the second day, while I was wearing like an Under Armour synthetic top, it just stunk the next day, and I just ended up putting it in a bag and just like, no, not going near that again. Just fill that bag up and put it somewhere down in my bag because it was just disgusting. What you need is merino wool. Something like this is your base layer. Like merino wool, I don't really know, I don't understand it, right? But it's like, seems to be antibacterial and really great at just wicking that sweat and moisture away from your body, but also not ever smelling. So you could literally wear this for days and it will not smell. It is a godsend. So get some merino wool. And merino wool again, on the merino wool theme bandwagon. Your socks and your feet on a hike have to be the most important thing, because if you don't take care of your feet, you can't get anywhere at all. I experienced this. It's going from Inverarnon to Tyndrum, and it just poured down the whole day. My feet got absolutely soaking, and it got to the point we had to end the day early. We actually wanted to get much further than that. We had to end the day early because my feet were ruined, and it was because I wasn't looking after them. I was basically just having my feet waterlogged in my boots all day long, and that just killed them. So on the next day, after learning that, we had to develop a system with our socks. Our system was merino wool yet again, because they're great. We would stop and change our socks every 2 hours, and let the socks we had on dry on the side of our bag. We'd literally just tie them on the side. So, and that worked wonders, honestly. Like, that's, if there's anything to take away from this video, it is that. It's a sock system. Change every 2 hours. So yeah, we had 3 pairs, so we can alternate between them all. Give another pair a chance to like dry when you're wearing the other ones. Yeah, very, very important. Okay. Since I was talking about having waterlogged feet, I may as well talk about my boots. Yeah, again, I got these boots in 2010 under some weird circumstances, but we'll talk about that again some other time. But these are Salomon Gore-Tex, yeah, Contra Grip, I don't know. Good boots, right? But probably cost quite a bit. But for some reason, they just don't keep your feet wet. I don't know if like, yeah, I've not really used them that much before the West Highland Way, so I wouldn't say it was like wear and tear that caused them to leak water. But my feet got wet pretty quickly, and they would just hold the moisture in. So basically, my theory is Gore-Tex does the opposite of what it says. You know, it basically lets all the water in and doesn't let it back out again. So they stay wet. So you can have soaking wet boots, go to a lovely campsite which has a really nice dry room, really, really warm, put your boots in there, and in the morning they're still wet. So my feet, yeah, took a bit of a pounding. But other than that, these are actually really great boots. Like, they do give you a lot of support. They're quite lightweight for the size of them. Might talk about that at the end, about some kind of things I might change up if I was to do it again. Cooking equipment. Another bag. Good to keep things together. We took all of these because, you know, like when you're hiking the West Highland Way, you need all of these. Yeah, because you might be cooking a feast, you know. The small one's good for boiling up water quickly. And the big one, though, yeah, who knows. But yeah, so that's all our pots and pans, and 2 gas things we took actually, yeah, that's great. Yeah, far too much. Don't need all that. For some reason we thought we'd get loads of instant noodles, as they were like dehydrated, and just add water and heat them up, and that'd be a really great option for food. So we went to like a Chinese supermarket before we left, and how many kilos of instant noodles did we take with us? About 1.3 kilos, I think it was. Yeah, I've got a list somewhere, let me check. Yeah, we took 1.35 kilos of instant noodles with us on the West Highland Way, and 1.25 kilos of flapjack, and like bags of like mixed nuts, dried fruit, stuff like that. Like we took several kilos of food with us between our backpacks. I think it was mostly in Rihanna's backpack actually, because I had the actual pots and pans. She took the food. But that was just stupid. Like, there's literally so many places where you can restock or even just get a meal on the West Highland Way. Like every day there's a couple of options of what you can do in terms of food and shops. So yeah, right, this is kind of like the, I don't know, accessories and just nice to have things, I suppose. So we've got sunscreen, because if you're of a paler complexion like I am, you will need this. Yes, it's Scotland, it rains all the time, but when it does, when the clouds open and when the sky opens, the clouds go away. What is this saying? I don't know. When the clouds do go away and the sun does peek out, you'll need some of this because you're outside all day, and being outside all day in the sun, you're going to burn. Insect repellent. I think that was one of the options we had. I think there's a few different because there is a lot of midges and a lot of clegs. Vaseline. Like, a lot of people use Vaseline for when they start feeling a hot spot on their feet and they think they're going to get a blister. I didn't tend to adopt that method, and maybe that was stupid of me because I did get some really bad blisters. A torch, emergency alcohol, a knife, don't think I used it once. Duct tape, very, very useful. If you remember seeing the tent bag full of holes, that'll patch up. And it'll also fix broken tent holes. Midgie net, that's a cooking stove and stand for the stove itself. That is waterproof trousers and more insect repellent. And on the other side, I've actually got more of my waterproof clothing. Got a waterproof jacket, which is like a jacket in a packet, and I've also got mac in a sack and some string. And I don't really know what this string is for. I just always have it in my bag. It's going to come in really useful one day, and then who's laughing? So. Deodorant, pointless. It's going to stink. Right, so that's, oh no, that's not everything that's in my bag actually. There's more. There is another dry bag, and this is basically just got my electrical equipment. So I keep in here a phone charger, battery pack, which also doubles as a torch, and it's got solar panels which do absolutely nothing. So you can show off, I suppose, but it does nothing. And another torch, and a couple of lights to put in the tent. They're really good actually, just to hang up on your tent. Two of them. One each so we can read our books. You need to take a book with you, don't you? So I took a book with me, but didn't manage to get through it. Another thing, don't take anything like a book. You're not going to read a book, right? Especially when you're doing like really long days like we were doing. When are you going to be reading a book? And this is a bit of a joke book, by the way. I didn't really take anything of this size, but just for illustration purposes, really. Right, that's that bag deflated and basically done. Yeah, fair enough. Right, Rihanna's bag. It looks like there's not much here, and that's because Rihanna took all of the food. And as I said before, that was several kilos worth of food, so it took up a lot more space. But she had a very similar setup to me, where she's got our sleeping mat on the outside, along with her half of the tent. As you can see, in much better condition. Look at it on the inside. Well, that explains a lot then, because it looks like Rihanna didn't actually take anything in her bag. Apart from this bad boy, the flask, the dreaded flask. Right, this weighs, how much does this weigh? 750 grams, something like that. And fill it with hot water, coffee, whatever. It's going to be like a kilo, 2 kilos, I suppose. And it's completely pointless. You don't need to take this, right? There's lots of places to get food and drink along the way. Do not take a flask. First aid kit. That's just got Compeed, I think I had athlete's foot powder. There's other like creams and lotions and stuff to put on our feet at night and stuff like that to try and make things, I don't know, make the pain go away. Toothbrush, got shower gel, there's small bottles of shampoo and conditioner and toothbrush, toothpaste, yeah. Most important thing in here would be Compeed. Another midgie net, very important. Some more socks. Yeah, that's basically it. And Rihanna also had her sleeping bag in the bottom as well. There we go. And some bin bags. Gotta take your waste home, leave no trace. Right, okay. So that's basically everything we took on our trip. Now I kind of want to talk about things that I've touched on previously, things that I wouldn't take again. If I was to do the West Highland Way again, what would I take, what would I not? I wouldn't take all the food and the cooking equipment that I did. There's a lot of different places in the West Highland Way where you can actually restock or actually just get a nice hot meal, which we did invariably. We didn't actually use a lot of the stuff we took with us, including the food. I believe we actually left a lot of our instant noodles at Riverdin Youth Hostel. So if you happen to be staying there a couple of weeks after, you probably got some of our noodles, so you can thank us. Also, the cooking equipment itself, don't need all that. You probably need one pot, maybe two, so you can both eat out of a pot. If I was doing it again, I might just take emergency kind of food supplies, something like a protein bar, maybe some dried fruit, that's it. I don't really know that like microfiber, like hiking towels existed, so me and Rihanna both took a towel each, so we could like get dried and stuff after a shower if we stayed somewhere that had a shower, and also just if we got really wet. But what you can get, I think it's in this bag actually, is these microfiber trekking body towels. These are great. They're really packed in really small, they're really light, and they do actually dry you and dry quite quickly. So if you can hang it up maybe on the outside of your bag or at your tent when you've pitched, it will dry quite quickly. Get one of them. Shoes. Yes, shoes. As I touched on previously, my feet got very wet in these. They also got very hot, which I think contributed to the fact I got really quite bad blisters on like the first day, and that kind of sets you off the rest of the trip if you get really bad blisters on the first day. So some people do still like to wear boots, but I don't really think they're needed anymore. If you're fit and your bag's not too heavy, for the West Highland Way, I don't really think you need proper big hiking boots like this. I have actually opted for.
Ali, this isn't recording.
It's not.
No. It's a joke.
You're wicked. So yeah, I decided to get a pair of trail runners after reading a lot of reviews online about what other people do. As I said, my feet got really wet in them. Your feet will get extremely wet in these as well because of this really thin material, but they'll also dry extremely quickly, and that is extremely important, because if you get your feet out of these and have them in the sun or just have them somewhere warm, or even just in your tent, these will dry, and your feet will dry as well then. So I would say for the West Highland Way, definitely have some kind of lighter weight footwear, be it trail runners or just some trainers, especially for the sections around Loch Lomond, for example. It's really tight, twisty, kind of like going through all these different trees and stuff. I've got a cat coming into the picture. Hey, tiger. It's very exciting, isn't it? Yeah, especially Loch Lomond side. For some reason, like your feet just end up burning because of this like tight, twisty kind of trail you've got going through all the trees and stuff. And even speaking to other people, they said the best thing they had was the trainers that you could put on for that kind of terrain, and then maybe have their boots for going through the rougher stuff. Rihanna can attest to that, for example. She just had normal trainers, and she was like a gazelle compared to me going through that stuff because she was so light on her feet. It's also good to have footwear that you can wear when you get to camp. Just like I said about having clothing when you get to camp to sleep in.
And a cat.
And a cat. And a cat. You've got to take a cat with you as well. Sorry. Yeah, so Rihanna had flip-flops, which she put on as soon as she got to camp, let her feet breathe, and she can wear them in the shower as well if she's going to like a place that's got shower facilities. I didn't have anything like that, so I ended up buying flip-flops at the Green Welly in Tyndrum. Got absolutely fleeced for them as well because they knew I needed them. So yeah, that's definitely something you should buy. I've now got a pair of like kind of hiking sandals that I can you can wear for just your actual walk as well as wearing at camp. And if you're having to go through like a river or a bog or anything like that, it's another great option because you can, yeah, it's basically just like having bare feet. Waterproofs. Yeah, we weren't too aware of all the different kind of waterproof materials and like what you would really actually need if you're spending a whole day in the rain. I just had my soft shell jacket, which soft shell, it just gets wet and holds the water. So I also had another layer, which is this jacket in a packet sort of thing. But it's also not very waterproof. So even with this and this, I was still able to get quite wet. Don't know what that was. It's obviously very interesting though. Yeah, so after that day that we got soaked, in Tyndrum again, in the Green Welly, we both bought these Mackinac sacks. These are great. Like, these will cover you and your backpack, and it's just another layer of waterproof material to kind of just buys you more time, because everything gets wet eventually. But these will buy you much more time, and they're really easy to just throw on. Keep them in a side pocket in your rucksack, and as soon as you start to feel the rain coming on, just whip these on straight away, right over your backpack, right over you, job done. Great purchase. So yeah, I'll always take these with me now. So there is a couple more items you might want to take with you. Painkillers for one. Depends how hard you're going to push. If you're going to be taking it easy and doing this like shorter days, you might be okay. But if you're doing 20 plus miles, you might want to think about some kind of pain relief. Compeed as well, extremely important. I don't know how many packets of Compeed we actually got through, but importantly, you can restock that for that kind of stuff on the trip as well. There were several shops that were stocking things like Compeed, even like knee braces. Rihanna got a knee brace because she developed a bit of a complaint in her knee, but it will cost you more because they know you need it. So I'd maybe try and stock up on these kind of things before you go, save yourself a little bit of cash. That's basically everything that was in my rucksack. I've tried to share some advice and tips that we learned from actually doing the walk. What we learned from this walk as well, we took into planning for the coast to coast hike, which was a much longer walk. It's about twice the distance. But we still got it wrong, don't worry. We still took some stuff we shouldn't have taken. I ended up lugging about a massive DSLR for absolutely no reason. So I'll probably do a video of that in the future as well. But thank you for watching, and I hope this has been useful to you, because when we were planning for the West Highland Way, these videos were like so valuable to helping us actually plan and just try and just get the basics right. So yeah, happy hunting. Right, now you've got to pack all this stuff away. So I actually had to like pack and unpack for the West Highland Way without actually getting to do the West Highland Way.
I never filmed that last bit.
You never filmed that last bit? You wind me up again? This cameraman. Can't get staff these days. Camera officer. I forgot to mention the actual weight of our backpacks. And I think all in all, when we had all of our food and all of our water, mine was like pushing 20 kilos. It was like 19 point something. Rihanna's maybe a couple of kilos less, but not much. So that just shows you taking all that extra stuff that maybe we didn't need to take really adds up. And that is just all going for your knees and your feet. So just remember, try and pack light.